Hi everyone, I'm Kendra Cavasel, a photographer and journalist and creator of the Anita Project. First I want to say a big thank you to Sherry of the God Life Happy Wife blog for inviting me to share my story with you all. So I'm going to get into the questions. Thank you, Sherry, for sending these questions. The first question is, what is the project about? The Anita Project is a tribute photography project. Basically, it's a project that highlights and captures the unique bond between mothers and daughters, and that could look like anything. It could be mother, daughter, it could be grandmother, granddaughter, it could be aunt, niece, it could be an array of scenarios, but basically capturing that bond that mothers and daughters have with each other. It's a tribute to my mother, who I lost last year suddenly. And it's a tribute to her, it's in honor of her. I launched it on Mother's Day of this year as a gift to her, and it's basically in honor of her and all mothers and their daughters. What inspired me to start this project? Well, my mom inspired me. After everything happened last year, I always say this project actually chose me. The project actually just kind of hit me one day. It was soon after everything happened, and I was going through the worst time of my life. And still am, but you know, I'm navigating the waters. It hit me soon after everything happened, and it kind of popped into my mind, and I wasn't immediately ready to address it. Well, I spoke about it with, you know, close family members, but I still wasn't ready to execute it. I wasn't ready to fully face this project, what I wanted to do, what it meant. Everything was still very raw, very on the surface, and I just couldn't physically move forward with the project. Emotionally, I couldn't move forward with the project. So it was something that lived within me as I was, you know, at the beginning of my grief, at the beginning of that journey, never knowing anything like that pain, it's just such a huge loss that I'd never experienced before, and not knowing, I mean, heads or tails, not knowing who I was, not knowing who I was to be. You know, losing my mom is, even just saying it now, just doesn't sound real to me. It's still something that's very surreal, and it just became something that I thought would be, it just became something, it became something I could hold on to, something that propelled me forward through these waters I'd never been through before, something that I could, you know, hold on to as a piece of her, but also share it with everyone else, so that it was kind of a way of, you know, having her with me through these other women, these other mothers and daughters, these other families, these other, you know, children and, you know, young adults and people who had been through what I'd been through even, I discovered, you know, through the project. I never even thought about, you know, who the people would be, what their stories would have been. I just kind of had this idea, and it just kind of kept developing on its own, basically. And I think my mom had a hand in that. Again, why do I feel the project chose me? I mean, that's just, it's just an instinct I have. I just feel that it chose me in order to heal. I don't know the reason, but it chose me in order to heal. It chose me in order to share with others. It chose me to, maybe teach others. And I think this is all kind of part of realizing, part of why I exist, why I live. Losing my mom has been a huge spiritual journey for me. I was spiritual before, but this has kind of taken me to a whole other level of insight, of introspection, of growing and learning and falling and getting back up. It's just interesting. When everything happened, even before I started this project, I kind of became very vulnerable, very expressive, especially on social media. I mean, not to the point where I was, writing every day or that sort of thing, but when I did write something, it was something very personal, very deep, very private, and I've always been a private person, but I think this has made me realize a lot of what I'm dealing with, other people are dealing with, or other people don't know about yet. I never knew this, when friends would lose parents, or people I knew lost parents, I didn't know the magnitude, the depth of that pain, that loss. And now that I know that, and have been kind of sharing that with others, just because I've been moved to share that, the feedback has been also as healing. When you ask me why do I feel it has chosen me, I believe it is to help others. When I shared my feelings about all that's been going on, the response from people, even, one of the main things that hit me hard was several people sent me private messages saying, your words have made me, run and hug my mother tighter today. Or, your words are so transparent, and, it's just, sorry. This project chose me for so many reasons, and some of those reasons I don't know, I won't know. Some of those reasons are just because. The response to this project has been so beautiful. I didn't have any expectations when I started the project. So I think when you go into something without any expectation, it only goes up. So I'm so grateful for all of the support, all of the love, all of the understanding, and all of that help that goes into starting a project like this. All of the resources, the help. Some close family and friends offered help. Offered, to post it on their pages and post it on, mommy blogs and things like that, where, the word was spread that way, and it kind of was, word of mouth, a lot of that, and so it was just amazing, the response. It still is. I keep, being amazed at all of the outpouring of support, all of the outpouring of interest, all of the words, all of the guidance. I've received such beautiful strength and community through these women that I photograph and their kids. One huge thing for me is interacting with these families and, getting some insight into how other mothers and daughters are bonded. And each family I've photographed so far, it just solidifies why I'm doing this project and why it came to me. And each family has some sort of tie or coincidence, or what my mom and I would call God winks, or some sort of just similarity to the bond my mom and I had and still had. It's kind of a tangent, but one of the the biggest comforts I feel, and I feel that's part of my mom still being with me. I was leaving one of the photo shoots, and one of the daughters, as I was leaving, you know, they were kind of waving from their house, and one of the the youngest girl, you know, turned to me and said, "I want to give you a hug," and that it just makes me feel another reason for this project. It just feels like why I do this project, and why it's healing, and how I see that healing. It becomes just otherworldly, basically. It becomes a connection with my mom, and I think that's why I do it. So how do I choose who I photograph? Well, like I briefly mentioned, everyone so far has come to me either by word of mouth, or, you know, through family, or just social media, that sort of thing. And so that's how I choose. I have thought about, you know, reaching out to certain people, and I have reached out to a few people here and there, but it's mostly been kind of snowballing on its own, and for that I also am grateful. So what is my long-term goal for the project? Well, once I started, I kind of just got excited about all of these ideas, and just the possibilities. It's really a passion project. I've thought of, you know, a book, a coffee table book possibly, or you know, just segments, video segments that delve even deeper, documentary. One of my visions is to take the project on the road, you know, photograph in different cities. So far I mean, mainly shot in the Los Angeles area, but I did recently visit Beijing, China, and was able to kind of get some snippets of mothers and daughters out and about, and kind of capture that relationship visually. I didn't get to speak to the people or interview them, but I think there's something also beautiful about words unsaid in those photos. I will be going to my hometown of Montreal soon, and we'll get to, you know, feature some mothers and daughters there. And so anywhere I go from this day forward, I will have my camera, and it will be available to photograph mothers and their daughters, and again, all scenarios, grandmothers. I love, you know, photographing the generations. I have a few of those featured on my site where it's, you know, the great-grandmother to the great-granddaughter, and so I hope to continue with that. I hope to take it on the road, nationwide, internationally, overseas. Like, just, I would love to see and just kind of observe and share how these mothers and daughters have their certain bond in you know, everywhere around the world. There's a certain commonality, of course, in that bond, and then I think there's a certain uniqueness. Not everybody has the same bond. Not everyone has, you know, the greatest of relationships as mother and daughter, but I think there is something to be said for that as well. I don't, you know, I don't go into this thinking everything's, you know, rainbows and flowers all the time, but I do go into it knowing that everybody has some sort of relationship and unique bond as mother and daughter. How can you contact me? You can go to the website of the project, which is aclaireview.com. So ACLAIREVIEW.com. The email address is the same thing, so aclaireview@gmail.com. And you can reach me any of those two ways. You can reach me through Sherry and her blog. And I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your stories. I'd love to collaborate. I'm so open to that. There are so many possibilities with this project, and through it I've met some incredible people, and I thank them all for sharing, some of their time and relationship with each other with me, for being so transparent, for being so sharing and giving, and I look forward to seeing what happens next with the project. And then to spread the word, I appreciate any little thing. Word of mouth has been huge, and I'm just grateful to be able to do it and have a website and be able to kind of just do my little part in the world. Social media has been helpful, and just anything. And I don't want anyone to think it's a one-way street. If you're sharing my story, I want to share your story. I have other outlets, I have other blogs, I have just a love for sharing information and, work that is doing something for others in the world, and funny stories, and just anything that's inspiring, and anything that people can walk away with a piece of. So again, thank you so much, Sherry, for this opportunity to share my story with your readers, and I wish you all the best, and I know that we'll still keep in touch, and when I'm in your area, we will definitely do a photo shoot, and that's it for now. Thank you so much.